Hello friends and welcome back to The Dork Side. I'm the Dork in the Road, and today let's talk about why it's time for me to sell my Kawasaki KLR 650. I'm the Dork in the Road and I want to be your internet writing buddy, so please consider subscribing. I've owned this KLR 650 for 6 months now. I bought it in October, right when they first came out. I had a really great test ride, really enjoyed it, and decided that this was going to be a good bike for me. I'll link that test ride video for you. As a person who makes motorcycling content, and particularly content directed at people that are new to motorcycle riding and off-road motorcycle riding, it's a bike that I felt like I should have experience with, and I've been very happy with it so far. It's done everything I expected it to do, and I've been pleasantly surprised in many areas with what it was able to do and capable of doing. Before I let it go, I thought we should talk about why I'm selling it and why I'm moving on, because I know that you all will have questions. I've already seen a ton of them in the comments. First, let me say how much I appreciate how attached to my motorcycles some of you get, up to the point where you become very personally offended when I move on from one. It's my job now to ride, review, make content on motorcycles, and in order to keep doing that, I have to occasionally switch motorcycles. But there's nothing wrong with this bike, and I'm not selling it because it sucks. I'm selling it because it's time to move on. So let's talk about why I'm selling it and why I'm moving on to a new bike. So first of all, remember when I bought this bike, I told you in that video, I said, I'm buying a KLR because I can't get a Tenere 700. Tenere 700 is the bike that I wanted. You know, the low cost, easy to ride, low weight, Japanese reliability adventure bike I've always wanted, and we still cannot get our hands on those things. There's a local dealership that's actually selling one for $10,000 over retail. That is double the price, and so as much as I would love to ride a T7 and own one someday, I've decided to move on from that dream, at least for now, because of the shenanigans and antics that are going on with it. The T7 is not what I'm getting now, but the point is, I never said I'm buying this bike and riding it forever, right? What I said was I want to get it, I want to make content on it, I want to try it, I want to use it, I want to ride it, I want to see what all the KLR hype is all about, and I feel like I've done that. The other reason I got it was to make content, right? And I've made a ton of content. I have a whole KLR playlist. I'll link it for you up here and in the description, and that playlist will continue to exist. If you bought a KLR because of my videos, I'm flattered and honored to hear that. Please don't take this as me saying, well, you shouldn't have done that because it sucks. Not at all. Flattered, honored, so cool that you did that. I still think it's a great bike. I've sold many. I know many of you have reached out and said, hey, I bought a KLR because of your videos, and that's so cool, and please continue to do that. Kawasaki has not noticed at all, but whatever. I'm not bitter. This is a bike that I will continue to recommend to people. I think the KLR is a great first adventure bike. It is legitimately the bike I wish I'd started my journey into the adventure bike world with. So if you're just getting started with off-road riding, probably the optimal path is a light dual sport like a 250L like I started on, learn a little bit of off-road riding, and then move on to a heavier dual sport, more highway capable dual sport, or a small adventure bike. And I think the KLR is a great bike for that step. I skipped that step, went right to an Africa Twin, so I wish I'd bought this bike when I bought my AT, and then right now I would feel a lot more confident moving on to something else, which is what I'm doing. But having said that, a couple things really led me to decide that maybe it's time to move on from the KLR. And one has nothing to do with the KLR specifically, but rather a feature it's missing. My bike is the non-ABS model. That is all they had when I bought it. And I was impatient and I wanted it, so I bought the non-ABS model. And I don't really like ABS off-road. I've heard it's not so bad on the KLR, but I never actually got a chance to test it out. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point is, a couple months ago, I was riding up to Detroit Lake to check the liquor store where I found that bottle of Blanton's, and a car pulled out in front of me, coming out of a rest stop, and there was no way I was going to be able to stop. I locked up the rear, and I guess panicked and sort of forgot to use the front a lot. I don't know. It's embarrassing, but it's also realistic in what happens. Fortunately, the guy saw me and stopped, and I was able to get around him. But that really made me think about how much I miss having a bike with ABS. And, yes, non-ABS can outbrake ABS. That is in an ideal condition with a well-trained rider who keeps their cool, and obviously I proved I was not that. So I really want to get back on a bike with ABS. That's part of the reason why I want to move on from this one. And I also just sort of want something with more bells and whistles, a little fancier. My Africa Twin was this super basic launch year model. It had ABS and it had traction control, but no modes, no lean sensitive ABS, none of that stuff, no fancy TFT display. I'm a super gadget whore. Ask my wife, she'll tell you. I love technology, and it's time maybe for me to try a bike that has all that stuff, a fancier bike than anything that I've ridden. That appeals to me a little bit, having not done it. I like the super basic nature of this KLR. I still have my DRZ. That's a dead simple bike, so I'll continue to enjoy that lack of complexity. But in terms of an adventure bike that I'm going to start putting thousands of miles on, I'm interested to try one that has a few more features. And to be honest, at this point in my riding career, at the skill that I've developed, and again, this is not me saying I'm amazing, I'm intermediate at best, but I'm not a beginner anymore, and I'm confident that I'm not a beginner, and that's really the biggest indicator that you're not a beginner, is that you're confident that you're not a beginner. I do want something, the little stiffer suspension, you know, a little faster, a little more fun, a little more thrilling, a little more dangerous. The KLR is a great get you there, get it done bike. Like I said in my last video, it's the tortoise and not the hare. Slow and steady wins the race. But sometimes, man, you want to go fast, you want to jump, you want the hare. So I'm going to buy the hare for my next bike. Maybe I'll hate it, I don't know. But that's another reason why I'm moving on from this KLR. I still think it's a great bike for beginners or for anyone who wants a reliable bike that'll take you anywhere that doesn't cost a lot of money. For me, as an intermediate rider, I find myself wanting more. Yes, my Africa Twin was more, and it was a great bike, but now I want something a little lighter than that, something with a few more features, a little bit more modern. My Africa Twin was a 2016. I want to experience how the other half lives, so to speak. And like I said, it is my job to test and review bikes, and I feel like I make better recommendations the more experience I get with different types of bikes. So I'm going to move on to something else. Having said all of that, the bike I'm buying is a 2022 Husqvarna Norden 901. And yes, I talked a lot of crap about KTMs over the years, so I'm sidestepping that by buying a Norden instead of a KTM. So I'm buying a Husqvarna, not a KTM. Wink. I'll make a whole video on why I got the Norden. There'll be a new bike day video coming very soon. I don't have it yet because the dealership is taking their time, shall we say. I'm annoyed, but I'm not quite at like yelling at them publicly, but let's just say I thought I was gonna have this bike a week ago and I don't. It's a cool looking bike with a lot of features I'm interested in. I like the weight and I like the way it handles. So excited to get on that Norden 901, try something new. And also I've talked a lot of crap about KTMs and their reliability over the years, so maybe it's time for me to put my money where my mouth is and actually get some experience and stop talking about anecdotal evidence from other people and actually be able to speak to my own experience owning a bike with a motor made by KTM. So that's another reason why I'm going with the Norden. Here's hoping I have no issues and I can just eat crow the whole time. So if you have a KLR, I just want you to hear that this is not an indictment of this motorcycle. I think it's a great bike. I'll continue to recommend it. I love it. I could ride it forever. I could. It will do anything I need it to do forever. Probably never break down, probably never complain, be slightly less comfortable and have slightly fewer features than the bike I'm getting, but also be way more reliable and cheaper. So KLR is a great bike. I am not selling it because it sucks. I'm selling it because it's time for me personally as a rider to move on to something else. You know, and honestly, I'll always remember my time with this KLR fondly, and who knows, maybe someday I'll get another one. I could totally see myself doing that. I definitely did it with Groms already. So if you have questions about the KLR, about the Norden that I can answer, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I know you have thoughts and feelings about this transition. That's fine. Leave those in the comments. It's the point of the comments is so we can have a conversation, right? But for now and as always, I just want to say thank you very much, and please do not forget to be excellent to each other. Thank you.
Excellent!
Isn't there a saying about best laid plans? Something like that? Well, I made that video, edited that video, uploaded that video, and posted it for my members and patrons. That was at like noon. At 2:30, my phone rings. It's Matt from Power offering me a deal that I cannot pass up. So I had all these great plans, and sometimes life just throws a monkey wrench. And now I have a Tenere 700 sitting in my garage. My plan is to still get the Norden and basically do a lot of comparison content for you because damn, two of the hottest, hardest to get adventure bikes fell into my lap, both of which I've been really stoked about for a long time. Not a good financial decision, but it's a good content decision. So look out for some Tenere content, some Norden content coming very soon. And sadly, this is probably the last time you'll see my KLR, so goodbye KLR, she's already sold.